Good morning. As we continue to work through the book of James in these sort of short morning devotions, today we're going to spend some time, because James does, talking about wisdom. Wisdom is all about having knowledge and understanding how to use that knowledge. Now, the problem with wisdom, though, is how you use it. Because there's always two ways to use the wisdom that you have. The knowledge you've gained and your understanding of things and your understanding of the world around you can be used in one of two ways. It can be used for good or for evil, really. And that's what James is kind of going to talk about today in our passages. Those two ways that we can use wisdom, use the wisdom we have. Because we can use it to benefit those around us, to grow everyone, and doing so with humility and with purpose and love. Or we can use wisdom to build ourselves up, make ourselves look better than everybody else. And what James is going to talk about here in our verses today, in James 3, verses 13 through 18, is that wisdom, the wisdom that comes from God, specifically, always should build people up. Not yourself, but those around you. That when God gives us wisdom, when God gives us understanding, it's for the benefit of everybody. It's so that we can use that wisdom to spread His word, to grow His kingdom, and help people understand His love for them. James 3, verses 13 through 18 says this: "Who is wise and understanding among you? Let them show it by their good life, by deeds done in humility, in the humility that comes from wisdom. But if you harbor bitter envy or selfish ambitions in your hearts, do not boast about it or deny the truth. Such wisdom does not come down from heaven, but is earthly, unspiritual, and demonic. For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you have disorder and every evil practice. But the wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere. Peacemakers who sow in peace reap a harvest of righteousness." The idea behind this passage and the idea behind what James is trying to get across here is how we use the wisdom we have. If our wisdom is earthly wisdom, is the knowledge of earthly things, we're not going to use that wisdom well. You see, the wisdom, this earthly wisdom, is designed to build us up, to make us look good, to make us look better than those around us. Earthly wisdom, that's what earthly wisdom does. And you take a look at the world around us, the culture that we live in. It's all about earthly wisdom. If you are wise in an earthly manner, you're famous. You're doing good things. Man, they're so wise. They know exactly how to make money. Man, they know how to make all that money. They did all that cool stuff. And now they're writing a book telling us how we can do it too. That's earthly wisdom. It's meant to build yourself up, to grow your own personality, to make yourself look better than everyone around you. And James is saying, don't be that person. Don't use that wisdom. That's not the wisdom of God. See, the wisdom of God comes with humility. When we're wise in the things that matter, wise in the things of God, that stuff's always going to be backed by humility. That's what James is trying to tell us here. It's not wisdom that puffs you up, but it's wisdom that builds up those around you. It's important to understand. Wisdom is not a problem. Wisdom isn't a bad thing or a good thing. It's how we use it. Whether we use it in humility or we use it in our pride and our selfish ambition. That's the problem. Having knowledge, having understanding of of the world around us and of how things move and function is good if we're using it appropriately in our lives. James tells us, because you remember this book, every time we've talked about James, we've talked about this, that James is writing the book of James to give each and every one of us super practical advice on how to live our lives, how God has called us to live, the things that he has called us to do. And the point that James is making here is that when we act in wisdom, when people come to us for advice, or we kind of have an idea of how something should go, or how something should work, or how the church should handle something, or the type of people that we should be helping, or when people come to you for help, how you help them. All of that should not be done to build yourself up, but what James tells us is that those things should be full of humility, because when that wisdom that we have comes from a place of humility, we will provide peace to those around us. We'll be considerate of others, full of mercy and bearing good fruit, impartial and sincere. When we use our wisdom for the benefit of others and not ourselves, for the glory of God and not our own pride, it benefits all. It shows people love. Not only us loving them by sharing our wisdom, but also our love for God and God's love for them. Wisdom is not about puffing ourselves up, but about building up those around us in humility and helping those around us see Christ clearer through our actions, through our wisdom, and through how we handle these sorts of things. So in your wisdom, be humble. Use the wisdom that, whatever the wisdom is that God has given you, use it to help others and not to build yourself up. Have a great rest of the week.